Nancy Regan, the throat goat. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse podcast. It's Mr. Fox, y'all, of the I Refuse podcast. I was not expecting too much on my bingo card this year, but I did not see this coming. So if you've been living under a rock the past 48, 72 hours, there's been some mess on Twitterland that's been setting it ablaze. So I am a frequent interloper of Twitter. There I was, minding my African American business, and a friend of mine sent me this story to my DMs and IG, courtesy of, I believe it was Hollywood Unlocked, that Nancy Regan was the throat goat back in the day when she was an actress. Now, for those of you not up on history, Nancy Reagan was the first lady while her husband Ronald Reagan was the president. I'm not going to dive too deep into that because, for a lot of reasons, Ronald Reagan was not a good president. But it all started with a tweet by Ben Shapiro's sister. That was a side-by-side of a photo of Madonna from one of her photo shoots, where she is dressed in really provocative wear, and she is like sprawled across the bed, and the photo next to her in the tweet was a photo of Nancy Reagan. And the tweet went something to the effect of, both of these women were 64 at the time of the photo. Where's the class, these days, or what happened to class and living like a lady or something like that. Fast forward a couple of centimeters. In defense of Madonna, her stands or fans were coming up with all kinds of crazy stories about Nancy Reagan, some of which I've never heard. Saying that she was a failed actress back in the day, but those casting couches were lit, and she was the word around Hollywood and the word around the lot in DC was that she was the throat she was the throat goat. And saying that that's how she landed Ronald Reagan, and that she don't cook, she don't clean, but she'll tell you how she got this right. Now, mind you, Nancy Reagan been dead for about almost 10 years. And Ronald Reagan's been dead almost 20. Where do people come up with this stuff? Like, stan culture and fan culture is already a trip, right? Like, I have never seen Madonna's fans go this hard. But it's very important to note that the double standard, you know what I mean? Like, when, Madonna has been doing her thing for almost 40 some odd years. And which means, none of what we see right now is new to us. But it's funny that even still to this day, people use a woman's liberation and sexuality and freedom to express herself against her in an effort to paint this picture that, oh, the class is gone and we should go back to, the days of the First Lady and old Hollywood. And I'm thinking to myself, if only you knew. Like, women were back in the day cheating. Women were doing all kinds of stuff. They just didn't have social media and cameras following them around. But they did have, J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI and, the mafia and, all these external parties, like, that would do the most direct damage in a short amount of time once you cross them or once you, do something that's not moral. You know what I mean? But the tweets under this hashtag Nancy Regan on Twitter, hilarious. I did myself join in. There's the same picture of Nancy Reagan wearing a yellow outfit in front of a fountain doing a pose like this that is tied to thousands of tweets, and one of my tweets was introducing Nancy the motherfucking Stallion. I just couldn't resist. There was another one that said, I may be 5'5", but my throat is 6'6". I slid out my chair for that. And I'm like, see, I was floored. So, this is a prime example of how shit can go hilariously to the left. They're really... it just boggles my mind. And Twitter just never fails to amaze me. Little old Nancy Reagan, could you imagine? Well, while it is true that she was an actress of some degree, and a lot of us know that Ronald Reagan used to be an actor too, it makes you wonder, damn, how far did she go back in the day? You give people an inch and we just come up with a whole backstory, right? It's how did she, neither one of them really made it to the level of a Jimmy Stewart or a Judy Garland or a Marilyn Monroe even. But people on Twitter and people in this world are very inventive and creative with their narratives. And it does make you think, well, damn, maybe there is some truth to it. But damn, I was minding my business and did not see any of this coming. But I sat there the rest of the day thinking, well, maybe she was Nancy the motherfucking Stallion. Maybe she was her knee game was top tier. 10 out of 10, would recommend. And, maybe she got those wrinkles in her throat from doing a lot of throat work. Nancy Hoover, you know what I mean? Nancy the motherfucking Hoover. Now that would be a fucking movie. I've heard some things about first ladies, but that would be the most interesting to me. I mean, now that I think about it, it really isn't too far-fetched. I had to get up on this thing and discuss this mess. Not too much else happened over the weekend, but that shit, I had to get up on here and talk about that with y'all because that shit almost took me off the planet. I had to like really try hard not to slide off my bed, slide out of this chair, or crash my car. It was just that fucking funny on Saturday. But it's just the little things, y'all, in the midst of all this craziness and madness that this pandemic has brought us each year, to constantly be tickled. The little things that just tickle you and you're just like, oh, it's going to be a good day for this. The throat goat. What a hell of a name. I swear, y'all don't miss. Like, when y'all be bored and y'all get on social media, y'all do not miss. Like, but it's enlightening because it's like, let's not act like women from the 40s and the 50s weren't putting it down. Let's not act like everything was all Pleasantville, that no woman back in the day didn't have little Megan Thee Stallion or Lil Kim in her. Like our grandmothers today. Look at your family. All right, look at your family, right? Your grandmother has at least 8 kids. Some of y'all, the kids are in the double, like your aunts and uncles, in the double digits. I mean, come on. And it's just not the black families. I know my mother has 7 siblings. And then some of them have more than 3 kids. Like my one uncle has, I think about as many kids as his mother. About 7 or 8 kids. Y'all fucking. And then on top of that, like, some of our relatives who are single still into their old age, some of their children are by married men. And even like people my mom's age have kids by men that are married. Now we're talking people that were born in the 50s, born in the 40s, born in the 30s. We fucking. And we don't care what your situation is at home. Oh, so please. I can go on the stand and say, yeah, this Nancy Regan thing, something's going on. Like, that's same compared to the shit we see growing up or the shit we've heard. Oh yes, 3 kids by a married man. So there's more than one throat goat in this life. It's hilarious because A, it just rolls off the tongue so nice, and then B, it rhymes. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? This is Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. This video is going to be short. Justice for, I believe her name is Thelma Helmsford. You know, that lady, that black married woman that went to that all-white sleepover and magically ended up dead, and everybody else at that party was let go with a slap on the wrist. Somebody knows something. They claim it was an accident, but I ain't never heard of somebody slipping and falling over the railing of the back patio. Like, they make the railings high enough to prevent that kind of shit. That lady was pushed. That's my theory. You know, community guidelines on YouTube do not come from me. Allegedly, that's what I'm thinking. So, we getting close to Christmas. Remember, rent is still due. The mortgage is still due. The car note is still due at the top of next month. So yeah. Y'all take care of yourselves. This is Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast, and we will catch y'all later.